everyone, today I'll be showing you how I make a meat kabsa. All of the ingredients will be in the description bar below. So here are my ingredients, and I'll be using bay leaves, cinnamon, green cardamom, cloves, ginger garlic paste, salt, cumin powder, coriander powder, pepper powder, garam masala, dried lime, saffron, nutmeg, and a few things to garnish. I have some nuts and some fresh coriander. I also have my chopped onions, tinned tomatoes, tomato paste, my washed rice, and my cleaned meat. So first I'll be adding some oil to a pan on medium flame. This is preparation for my onions. I'm just going to saute my onions for a few minutes until they're slightly brown and soft. Once you have sauteed your onions and they have become soft, you can add your ginger garlic paste to the mixture. I allow this to cook out for approximately 3 minutes and I reduce the heat slightly. Okay, so now we're going to be adding in the meat. When you add in the meat, please ensure that the temperature isn't too high because you don't want to burn the outside of your meat, because at this point the inside isn't going to be anywhere near to being cooked. Once I've fully let the onions and the ginger garlic and the meat mix through, I allow it to sit for at least a minute or so whilst I'm gathering the other ingredients. Because it's low, it won't burn and nothing will happen to it, so it's perfectly fine to leave it like this just until you grab the rest of your ingredients. Okay, so now I'm going to begin to add in my spices and herbs. So I'm starting with 2 bay leaves, cinnamon, cardamom, cloves, salt, cumin powder, coriander powder, white pepper powder, garam masala powder, dried lime, and nutmeg. So now I'm going to add my tomato puree, my tinned tomatoes, and then I'm going to allow the kettle to boil at the same time so that I have hot water ready when I need it. So now I'm just literally letting everything come together. I'm stirring everything through. And once your hot water is ready, you can add the hot water into the pot. Ensure that the hot water is covering all the meat so that the meat isn't dry. You want the meat to absorb all the water so that it's very succulent and it falls off the bone. Some people like to fry the meat after and take it out. I actually do that for chicken kabsa, but I won't be doing it in this one because I like the meat to stay soft. Okay, so now I turn up the heat. I turn the heat to a medium-high temperature, and I allow this to cook for as long as it needs. So this can range from about 30 minutes to 50 minutes, depending on the size of your meat. I'm also covering it with a lid just because it helps it to cook a lot faster, especially because I'm not using a pressure cooker. I'm so scared of using pressure cookers, so this is the way that I find that it works easiest for me. So now I'm just checking my meat, and you've noticed it's gone quite dark. That's because it's started to cook and everything is starting to come together. So I'm just checking to see if it's basically cooked, if it's soft enough. If it's not soft enough, that means it needs to cook for a bit longer, and you can add a little bit more water to the pot just so that the meat is covered again. Once you're completely satisfied with your meat, I will get a sieve or a strainer, something to basically remove the meat from the pan without me having to burn myself, or use a wooden spoon. This is just easier because then you can just scoop it out and put it to the side ready to use later. And then the remaining juices or gravy or stock that you have left, we're going to be using that to cook the rice. All the fat from the meat and the flavour from the spices and herbs are going to be used to flavour the rice. So that is where the rice gets its flavour. A lot of people use stock cubes, but like I said in the last video, it's not necessary because you're producing your own stock. If you need to add a little bit more water to cover your rice, then feel free to do so. So on the left hand side now I have a different pan. I'm going to be using this pan to roast some pine nuts. Pine nuts are my favourite for any kind of kabsa dishes, so that's what I'm using that for, but this isn't necessary, that's just to garnish. Also, you can add salt if you feel as though your gravy requires it. It's salt to taste, so use as much salt as you need. Once the rice is almost cooked, you're going to want to turn off the hob. Just leave a tiny bit of water just to allow it to steam. So first, you want to just add your rice and your meat, and then we're dressing the kabsa just like last time. I'm just going to add my coriander, and I'm going to add some pine nuts later on when I'm ready to serve. And this is the completed product. This is what meat kabsa should look like. Thank you guys so much again for tuning in, and I'll see you in my next video.